Hey everyone, welcome to Yoga with Laura Mack. I'm Laura. I don't have any of my kitties with me today, but I do have some lovely tall grass behind me. We'll be flowing for about 24 minutes in today's practice in a Vinyasa style flow, focusing on great big back bends, so prepping by opening up our hip flexors, our shoulders, getting into the upper back. When you're ready, grab your mat and let's get started. All right, guys, let's start lying down on our backs. And just let the body flop into any comfortable shape, whether you're liking to extend the legs or bend the knees. Arms can rest off the sides of the mat or on your body. Let the eyes soften down. And essentially, before coming into this really fluid movement, we'll stop before we start. Find a sense of awareness in your breath, drawing the air in and out your nose. Feel the breath moving through your physical system, inflating your body on the inhales, and deflating and softening your body on your exhales. Bringing the mind more into this moment, into what you're feeling, and leaving behind, putting aside whatever was going on before you came to the four corners of your mat. Next breath, in through the nose. Pause when you get to the top. Really fill up as much as you can. And open up the mouth and let out a big sigh. Draw the knees into your chest, breathing smoothly in and out your nose. Give your knees or shins a little squeeze and rock gently from side to side, massaging out the back. And take the knees in individual hip circles. So let the knees drop down to either side of your chest, away from each other. Take them forward, still apart, back together, and back into your chest. And just smooth out those circles, maybe with the eyes closed still. Feeling different parts of your back connect to the mat. And then reverse the directions of your circles. And the next time the knees come all the way into your chest, interlace the hands behind the head, taking the elbows wide. Then knees together, send them out right over your hips and the shin bones parallel to the mat. Keeping the head down just for another moment, notice what happens when you take the knees away from yourself. There's going to start to be a natural curve underneath the back. Let's try to really draw the front body down and in, navel to spine, and press the back body into the mat. And then go ahead and lift your head and shoulders up off the mat, leaving the weight of your head in your hands. Lower the heels down towards the mat with the knees bent any amount. Maybe they hover, maybe they tap. Inhale. Exhale, bring the knees back up and all the way into your chest and see if you can lift your butt. And again, inhale, knees over hips. Slowly lower heels to mat. Exhale, bring them back up. Tight to your chest, lift the tailbone. And keep going like this with the rhythm of your breath. Just about 20 seconds. I always say for these guys, the slower the better. You really want to feel the low back pressing to the mat as you lower the legs down. You want to feel the engagement of the lower abdominals when you squeeze the knees in, finding that little lift. Good. Next time the knees come into your chest, rest the head and shoulders down. Take the arms to cactus so elbows are bent in line with the chest, and tip your knees all the way to the left. You might need to scoot your hips to the right just a little bit, but a right hip or right knee stacking on top. Anchoring through the back of the right shoulder. Take a couple breaths. Just a simple twist, releasing the effects of gravity on the spine. Come back through center. Adjust your hips, knees to chest. Inhale. Exhale, tip your knees over to the right this time, maybe scooping the hips over to the left so the left knee, the left hip is on top, and anchor through the back of your left shoulder. And breathe deeply. And come back through center, knees to chest, but this time hold the backs of your legs, the backs of the thighs, and rock and roll up and down the length of your spine, swinging the legs. And it might start off as a small movement, but then as you build momentum, roll the full length of the spine a little bit more vigorously. And next time you come up, make your way into tabletop. Maybe you let that momentum carry you forward and over the shins. Make sure you walk yourself back if you're right off the top of your mat. Finding a sense of stacking here, spreading the fingers, shoulders over wrist, opening up the hips over your knees. Toes can be tucked or untucked, completely up to you. And then let the belly melt down towards the mat as you lift your tailbone. Shoulders pull back and retract. Heart lifts through the arms. Inhale, cow. Exhale, chin to chest. Push the mat away with your hands as you spread the shoulder blades and take the tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Cat. Again, inhale, cow. Feel the lengthening of your front body and the contraction of your back body. Exhale, cat. Feeling the opening of the back body and the compressing of the front body. And keep cycling through a few more spinal movements with your own breath. Maybe starting to see what it would feel like to move the spine more laterally, ribs from side to side, freestyling your cat-cows. The hips might get involved. The head might get involved. You might even try taking your hands in different directions. The whole time really connected to the breath. Noticing if there's any parts of your body that feel a little bit sticky or stuck, and just see if you can find any movement, any kind of poses or shapes to help get into those areas. Then come on back into tabletop and take the hands just slightly forward of the shoulders, keeping the index fingers pointing straight forward, and shift your shoulders back over the wrist so the pelvis drops a little bit lower. Curl the heels up towards your butt. If you need to pat up the knees, you can. Shoulder blades back. Lower the chest down about halfway as the elbows squeeze in by your sides. Inhale. Exhale, push back up to plank. And then rock the hips back towards your heels, child's pose. And again, inhale, come forward, heels to butts. Exhale, lower chaturanga from knees, pull the belly in. Inhale, straighten the arms back to that plank. Exhale, child's pose. And once you've kind of got the hang of it, connect it with the pace of your own breath and see if you can take about 3 more rounds. Notice when you lower the chest forward and down into chaturanga if those hips are dipping really low. Keep the belly lifted and the hips lifted as well. And the next time you come into your chaturanga, release all the way down to your bellies. Untuck the toes and press through the tops of the feet. Legs are active, the knees are lifting away from the mat, and stretch the arms forward at the top of the mat with the palms facing down. Again, active legs, like you're trying to really straighten your legs. Lift the hands to hover. Lift your chest just above the mat. Inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows, pulling them down towards your hips, and behind you, lift the chest a bit more. Keep the neck long. Again, like that. Inhale, reach forward, look down at your mat. Exhale, keep looking down as you lift your chest and pull the elbows back. Rowing your cobras for 3. Exhale. 2. Exhale, back. Last one, inhale. Exhale, hold at the top, really squeezing the upper back. Bring the hands down next to your side ribs, elbows hug back. Lift up about 20% higher. Cobra, shoulders down the back. Inhale. And then exhale, roll back down to the mat, release your chest. Press back up into tabletop, hands and knees, adjust your hands, shoulders over wrists, and take a cat, so chin to chest, tailbone to the backs of your knees, bringing the spine into flexion for a moment. Then looking back at your toes, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Press the shoulders back, lift the knees off of the mat to lift your hips high. Our first down dog, dance it out, walking out your legs, swaying your hips, relaxing the head between your arms. Clawing the mat with your fingertips and rooting down the index knuckle and the thumb pad. And let's take our first full traditional vinyasa. Pressing forward to a high plank, right onto the balls of the feet, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, you can always lower your knees down to the mat. Exhale, chest forward, bend those elbows lower halfway, chaturanga. Cobra, or if you're ready for it, up dog. Inhale, tops of the feet press. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the hips high again and take a breath. Bend your knees, lift your heels, look forward just a little bit and step your toes up behind your wrist. Uttanasana, forward fold at the top of the mat. Bend the knees a bit more so that you're really connecting your belly on top of your thighs. Reach for opposite elbows. Let your skull get heavy. Sway your body from side to side. And then settle in for a moment. See if you can lift the sitting bones a bit higher. Pull the navel up and in. And maybe even tip some more weight towards your big toes without letting your heels lift. And then drop the fingertips down to the mat. Halfway lift. Bring the hands up to the shins. Really extend the spine from tailbone to head. Inhale. Fold down again. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Exhale. 2 more like that. Inhale. Half lift. Shrug your shoulders back. Exhale. Forward fold. Last one. Lift halfway. Inhale. Pull the belly in. Exhale. Forward fold. Coming all the way up to standing, press through the legs. Draw energy up your legs, up your spine. Inhale, reach the arms above you. Exhale, bring the hands back through heart center and out by your sides. Then bring the feet all the way together, facing the top of the mat. I'm going to turn to face you though. Imagine you're zipping up from your big toes, up the inseam of your legs towards your belly button. Take the arms overhead again and catch the back of the right wrist with your left hand. Stretch your right fingertips long, stamp down the right foot. Inhale. Exhale, side bend to your left. Good. Letting your hips press to the right just a little bit and breathe. Come back up through center and switch. Right hand holds the back of the left wrist. Inhale, reach the left fingertips, press the left foot down. Exhale, curve your body to the right. Sticking your hips out to the left a little bit more. Keep that squeeze, that zippering of everything towards the midline. Good. And then come on back up. Release the grip of the hands, palms face towards one another. Feet together, knees together. Inhale. Exhale, chair pose. Bend your knees, sit back into your imaginary chair. Look down. See if you can spot your toes, the tops of your feet, even your ankles as you push the shins back. Then curve your heart up a little bit more. Feel the natural curve of the spine. Spines are curvy. And then pull your belly in so that we're supporting our low back. And see if you can sit a little bit deeper. And then lift your chest a bit more. And then see if you can sit a bit deeper, maybe even lifting your toes away from the mat and lift the chest a bit more. Good. Take one more big inhale. Exhale, belly to thighs. Plant the palms out in front of your feet. Look forward. Inhale, strong straight arms. And either step back or hop back as you exhale. Chaturanga, bending the elbows. Inhale, flow through your back. Bend your up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Take a breath. And we'll continue to flow. Lift the right leg high from your down dog. Inhale. Exhale, bend your right knee, open the hip, letting that right knee lift high. Drop your left shoulder down a little bit more and peek underneath your right arm and maybe even up, getting kind of left side heavy and really long in your right side. Good. Then square off your chest to the mat again. Straighten out the right leg. Inhale. Exhale, step the right foot to the right thumb. Lower the back knee down to the mat. Press through the top of the back foot, right knee over right ankle. Rise up, get really lifted, low lunge. So long through the spine, maybe letting the heart lift a bit more and dropping the arms behind the line of the ears. Press through the front foot. Good, opening up front of the left hip. Inhale. Exhale, lean about halfway forward, swing the arms down by the sides of the mat and then right back behind you. Press the palms towards one another. Thumbs are facing down. Tuck the back toes under. Slowly lift that back knee off of the mat. Right hip squeezes underneath you. Can you lift your belly off the right thigh a little bit more? Keep pressing the palms. And then with as little push off as possible of the back leg, warrior 3. Straighten the standing leg to pull that back leg up. Finding our standing balance. Left hip squares down. Kick back through the left heel. Good. And then keep squeezing the palms behind your back for 3. 2. On 1, bend the right knee. Step the left foot back, bend your left knee. Rise the spine up and reach the arms in front of your chest. Double bent knee lunge. So find a really solid base here. Feel like you have a center of gravity. You're not leaning forward or back. You've got your head stacking over your shoulders, over your hips. Palms facing towards one another. Inhale. Exhale, bend your right elbow, pulling it back behind you as you turn your chest back into the right. And look all the way back towards the right hand as it stretches back behind you. Make sure the left hip didn't come into that twist. Good, and breathe deeply across the chest. Begin to tip your body back a little bit more. Maybe the right hand reaches towards the back leg, the left arm goes up. Inhale. Open up warrior two as you exhale. Spin the back heel flat. Woo, take the left arm back, the right arm forward. I know that front leg is on fire. Let's stay with it, tracking the front knee straight forward if we can. Squeeze the shoulder blades behind you a little bit more. And then flip the front palm to face up. Tip your body back, reverse your warrior. Inhale, really long on the right side. Exhale, cartwheel the hands on either side of the front foot. Come to the ball of the back foot, step back, plank pose or modified plank with knees down. Inhale. Exhale, all the way down to your bellies, chest forward. Elbows bend, land down. Rest your chin to the mat. Reach the arms back by your sides, palms facing up. Good, Shalabhasana, locust pose. Starting with lifting the shoulder heads, the fronts of the shoulders away from the mat. Press your hands up towards the ceiling or to the sky, depending where you are. And then lift your chest just a little bit more off the mat. And then let's add that back body strength for the low back. Lift your legs to hover above the mat. Try to get the kneecaps to lift as well. Keep your neck long, looking down the bridge of your nose. See if you can bring their big toes a little closer together. Ooh, and hold for 3. Get the kneecaps off the mat. 2. And 1. Turn to one cheek and just wiggle the hips from side to side as you rest your head down to the mat. Then looking forward, bring the hands back next to your side ribs, elbows squeeze back, make your way back to downward facing dog. So up to you whether you want to pass through a child's pose or a tabletop, or maybe you press straight up into a plank pose to down dog. Walk the legs out a bit. Take a big breath. Then lift your left leg up high, 3-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, bend your left knee and open the hip. Let the left foot drop behind you. Holding here, peek underneath your left arm, hello, as you lift the left knee high. And maybe even looking up, getting right side heavy. Try to keep the right heel grounding. Square off your chest and your shoulders, straighten out the left leg, square off the hip. Inhale. Exhale, step the left foot towards the left thumb and lower the back knee down to the mat. Come up onto fingertips to set up your base, left knee over left ankle, top of the back foot presses, maybe padding up the knee, then rise up, low lunge. Whew, good. Rising up not just through the arms, but through your heart, through your spine, through the belly. Good, maybe starting to send the arms back behind you a little bit more. Maybe melting the hips forward just a touch more. Inhale. Exhale, lean your chest forward, sweep the arms by the sides of the mat and then back behind you. Thumbs facing down, palms press. Tuck the back toes under. Slowly lift that back knee off of the mat. Left hip hugs towards the midline. Lift your belly just above the left thigh. Remember, we're not kicking off with the back foot. Let's try to simply straighten the left leg to rise up. Warrior 3, back leg drags and floats. Kick back through the right heel, square your right hip down and squeeze those hands behind you like you're holding a ball. And just focus on one spot and try to find a bit of steadiness within your breath, even if the pose itself doesn't feel very steady. 3, 2, on 1, bend your left knee, step back to the ball of the right foot, bend your right knee, rise up with the arms in front of your chest, double bent knee lunge. Again, we're looking to find a straight line here as much as we can. So if we straighten the back leg, notice we start to hinge forward. When we're taking our twist, we want a really upright spine and a neutral pelvis. Inhale. Exhale, bend your left elbow, look at your left elbow as you turn your chest back with it. And then eventually releasing the left arm all the way behind you, spreading the fingers, the arms wide and apart. Good. Keep breathing, especially across the chest in your twist. Tip your body back. Maybe the left hand reaches for the back leg as the right arm lifts. Inhale. Unwind to warrior 2 as you exhale. Spin the back heel flat. Open the arms wide, deep bend in that front knee. Not too much longer here. Left hip squeezes beneath you. Shoulder blade squeeze. Flip the front palm to face up. Tip your body back one more time. Inhale, lift the left arm high. Exhale, cartwheel the hands to either side of the front foot. Come to the toes of the back foot. Press through your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, chest forward, bend your elbows lower all the way down to your bellies. Untuck the toes. Reach the arms back by your sides, palms facing up. So if you have the option here to take one more round of your Shalabhasana locust pose, or we're going for the big one, Dhanurasana bow pose. Now, if you have a history of shoulder injuries or a sensitive low back, you might skip that big back bend. Let's set up together, lifting the chest away from the mat again. Shoulder blades squeeze down the back and towards one another. Float your hands. Good. And then if you're going for a bow pose, bend your knees, flex your feet to point up towards the ceiling or the sky, and see if you can lift your knees without grabbing your ankles just yet. Feeling the glutes fire, the hip flexors working, or hip extensors. And then see if you can grab one ankle at a time. If you've got a hold of those ankles, kick your feet up like they're resisting the hold of the hands and pull back with your hands. Don't let those knees go wide. Hug the knees towards one another. Maybe even the quads lift away from the mat. And that neck is really long and relaxed. No strain in your traps. Hold. Breathe as deeply as you can while you're on your bellies. 3, 2. Soften everything on one. Gently release. Legs back behind you. Turn to the opposite cheek. And this time, maybe you windshield wiper the legs while you're on your bellies. Look forward. Hands by your sides. Press back to child's pose. Peel the belly off of the mat. Melt the hips right back to your heels. Rest the forehead on something, whether it's a block or a cushion or the mat if you can make it there. And you can decide whether you'd like to take the knees apart and let the ribs come between your knees, or maybe knees all the way together gives you more of a sense of rounding and stretch in the lower back. Back bends have this really naturally energizing quality to them. So feel that energy, that heat we've cultivated in the body through that continuous movement. And then as your breath settles, let your energy settle. Slowly roll up the spine, sitting over your shin bones. Sweep the legs off to one side and sit down. Stretch the legs out in front of you. If you're really far from the top of the mat, just kind of inch yourself forward. Feet planted, shin bones on a bit of a slope, knees are bent. Lift up through the chest and let your belly and your ribs rest on top of your thighs, and then either rest your hands on the tops of your feet, bow your head. So a really, really easy forward folds. Or if you prefer, you can give yourself a hug and wrap your arms underneath your legs. Just countering those big back bends again by folding into ourselves. If it feels good to wiggle your butt back just a little bit more, maybe legs get a little bit straighter and you lift the toes away from the mat, you can do that. But we're not going for super straight legs here. Just a feel good fold. Good. Gently roll up the spine. Then roll down your spine all the way to your backs. Finishing the same way we started, letting the body fall into any supportive shape. And the shape might be a little bit different than the one you took at the start of the practice. Maybe that low back needs a bit more support and the knees are bent. If you'd like more of a hip opener, you can bring soles of the feet together, Supta Baddha Konasana, knees wide. Soften your eyes down. Relax your face and your jaw. And stay here as long as you're able to. I suggest for the amount of time in this practice, about 3 to 5 minutes if you can. And here's where I leave you. Thank you for joining me on the mat, and I'll see you soon.